For 3 seasons, he's been planning. He's been scheming. He has been manipulating those around him and becoming stronger because of it. But Season 4 will be the season where his preparation finally pays off. While I am not entirely sure that Aaravos will emerge from his cocoon at the end of Season 4 of The Dragon Prince, I am sure that Aaravos will be the big winner of Season 4. Just because he is in a chrysalis now does not necessarily mean he is powerless, or that his influence on Viren will wane. If anything, that influence will increase. He will set the stage for his grand emergence from the cocoon. Currently, Team Callum is feeling great about themselves. As far as they know, Viren is either dead or severely wounded. They did see Rayla push him off a high cliff. Soren and Ezrin know that Claudia created that illusion of Viren, that clone, just to mask her own intentions. They know that was not really Viren. Of course, this is, in of itself, disconcerting, as it means that Claudia, someone they loved, someone they were very close to, is now willing to kill them. But they defeated her and the dark magic zombies she had on her side. They are confident about the future, they believe in themselves, and they believe momentum is on their side. The Dragon Queen is alive, and she is glad that humans and elves are moving past their prior grievances and reconciling, even forming close relationships. The world appears to be changing for the better, and even when they learn that Viren is still alive, resurrected via dark magic by Claudia, I doubt this would do much to dampen their enthusiasm. Team Callum is more powerful than it has ever been. There does not seem to be any force powerful enough to stop them. The problem is that they do not know about Aaravos. Considering that we are only on Season 3 of the show, and the show is planning to run for a total of 7 seasons, things are going to have to unravel eventually, and I cannot think of a better and more realistic way for them to unravel than for Aaravos to gain power. Of course, that is not the only way Season 4 could backtrack on the perfectly happy ending of Season 3. The alliance between humans and elves was one of convenience. While it promised that a better world was possible, it did not guarantee that this better world was going to happen. There is likely going to be significant conflict between elves and humans going forward. However, the main crux of the difficulties Team Callum is going to face in Season 4 and beyond is likely going to come from the enigmatic Star-Touch elf Aaravos. It is possible that Team Callum, the majority of which has no context by which to judge Aaravos, is going to have to contend with him as a real threat for the first time in Season 4. Soren is the only member of the team who knows anything about Viren's little bug pal, and even he does not really know that much. He knows enough to be suspicious, but he only really understands Aaravos via Aaravos' manipulative relationship with Viren. He does not understand Aaravos as his own unique and manipulative and distinct entity. And that is to say nothing of Ezrin, Rayla, and Callum, who know absolutely nothing about Aaravos, as far as we know. How they learn about Aaravos is not important, but they should learn something about him before he emerges from his cocoon, or this could just become another Aang and Ozai situation.
In Avatar: The Last Airbender, there are two final fights. One is the fight the show has been building up for 3 seasons, the Avatar versus the Fire Lord. Then there is the fight between Zuko and Azula. This fight is not anywhere near as important for the fate of the world as the Aang versus Ozai fight, so it should not feel as grandiose and enthralling. Instead, the Zuko and Azula fight is constantly, and correctly, referred to as the better of the two. It's certainly more memorable. There are several reasons for this. For one, the composition of the final Agni Kai sequence between Zuko and Azula is mesmerizing. Zuko stands his ground, while Azula, devolving into madness, is erratic, reinforcing the visual contrast between the blue fire of Azula and the red fire of Zuko. However, the most striking thing about this fight, which is how somber and borderline ritualistic it is, would be illogical without the histories we have of the relationship between these two characters. Zuko may triumph over Azula, but he genuinely cares about her, and he's saddened at her descent into madness. The relationship between Zuko and Azula has been developed over the course of the entire show. We know this bond, and we care about this bond, so we're invested in what happens to it. We have a personal connection to this relationship. This is not true at all of the Aang and Ozai fight. These two people don't know each other. They have never spoken to each other. They have nothing against each other besides the fact that, as the Avatar, he is the greatest hope the free world has against the imperialist machinations of Fire Lord Ozai. The opposition between them is structural, not personal. As such, the emotional stakes of the fight are significantly lower than they ought to be. I don't want this to happen with Aaravos. What the show needs to do is make Aaravos a tangible threat to Team Callum, and I do not just mean in the abstract sense. I mean that it needs to establish a personal relationship, or multiple personal relationships, between members of Team Callum and Aaravos. I want them to have a reason to want to defeat Aaravos besides the obvious fact that he's a scheming, manipulative monster who's willing to do whatever it takes to get his way. An easy way to do that would be to have Aaravos' forces defeat Team Callum in Season 4, and I can see this happening. Season 3 ended with our heroes triumphing over the forces of evil. There is only a hint of future darkness, with Claudia resurrecting her father, and Aaravos progressing from a caterpillar into a chrysalis. The challenge for the show going forward will be trying to integrate this future darkness into the main structure of the show. I don't want the Dragon Prince to turn into a never-ending highlight reel of Callum and Rayla triumphing over every challenge they face. While I love Callum and Rayla, and I want to see them succeed, the never-ending parade of victories could quickly become tedious. If Aaravos wins, whether directly or through manipulating Claudia or Viren, our heroes will no longer be able to be complacent. they will have to reflect. They will have to be introspective. Note that this does not necessarily coincide with Aaravos becoming the greatest threat they face in the show. In fact, if he wins without emerging from the chrysalis, that will make it significantly more imposing when he does emerge from it, in the sense of he's already accomplished so much before reaching his final form, so now that he has reached it, there is no telling what he has the possibility to do. The threat he poses to the protagonists being amplified, they will care deeply about defeating him. But they will still not know much about him, and this will lead them into learning more. Since they're going to have to learn more about Aaravos so that he becomes a real character instead of just an enigmatic figure, I'd prefer the process of them learning about him be like this. I'd prefer they not just realize he's evil because they're told about him. Rather, they suffer because of him, and this suffering causes them to want to know more about him. Crushed, they study him in an attempt to redeem themselves from the loss they will suffer at the end of Season 4. Aaravos will pay, they declare. This would be much more dramatically affecting than just having Aaravos be this great distant bad guy that they don't actually confront until the end of the show. So thank you for watching. If you liked what you saw today, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Donate to my Patreon if you can, and you want to see more videos like this. Keep watching The Dragon Prince. It is a brilliant show, so thoughtful, so meditative, so enthralling, and it's only getting better with time. I can't wait to see what they will do with Aaravos. I'm sure it won't be disappointing. So thank you all again. Tune in soon for my next analysis. It will be coming soon. Adios, comrades.